everybody.
Hola.
Hello.
Welcome back to episode 6 of Livin Latina. We are very excited to be here today, and we just wanted to come on and let you all know we've been thinking about you. We're with you, and post Harvey, if anything has affected you in any way, we want you to know that we're here for you in any way we can be. But we're going to get started today, and our hope today is to just bring you a few minutes of laughter, a few minutes of joy, and just bring a little positivity to a very difficult time that our city and our state has had, the last few weeks. So I'm really excited because all 4 of us are back.
Yay!
I know, it's exciting.
These women stay busy, so it's kind of hard sometimes to get us all together at the same time, but we're back and we're very excited to be here. We're going to get started today with a little icebreaker, and I just wanted to ask the girls, what historical figure would you like to meet and why? So let's go down the line, Izzy.
For me, it would be John F. Kennedy. I feel like we have had a few good presidents in the history of the United States, and we put a lot of pressure on these humans. And I would like to sit down with him because he's actually one of those presidents that I consider was really good to our nation.
That one.
I like that one. Anyway, that one didn't cross my mind.
Yeah, I did think about it. For me, I kind of have 2. One, I was trying to think of someone who's living that I could actually maybe meet one day in my dreams. Michelle Obama, of course.
Me too.
Complete, total impact on just women, minorities as a whole. So definitely she would be a dream come true to me. And then my other one was Rosa Parks because I just think about her as being extremely brave and strong and standing her ground in what she believed in. And I would like to think that that's something that I choose to do for myself and that I want to teach my daughter. So she would definitely be someone that I would want to sit down with and
That's a good
just
one.
kind of tap into her bravery.
Yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Frank?
Well, I was having a hard time. My mind was blanking out. But as they were talking, I was like, this person. For me, living, Ellen DeGeneres is somebody that.
You stole my story.
I'm sorry. Are you serious? I'm sorry. Just her courage, her generosity, her kindness. She is just such an exceptional human being. Obviously, everybody is flawed, but as far as how she treats people and that positivity she's always exuding, and
She's never changed.
no, and other than her haircut, but it's just she's a beautiful person.
Really?
And then another person was maybe Mother Teresa. So just again coming from a place of so giving of herself entirely, and how much she has helped in her life and give her life to people and to children. Being able to just pick up a little bit off, sometimes you feel like when you're with somebody that rubs
It rubs off of you. Yeah.
So to me, those 2 people.
That's awesome. They were all good. I feel like, oh my gosh. I honestly, I'm not going to lie, I went blank too. I asked for theirs and I was like, where's mine? But thinking of someone that has inspired me, not only, obviously fashion is a big deal for both of us. I think for all of us, we all have a big style of our own. Fashion, and I've always been someone that says, kill them with kindness. Someone that I can see and that I saw was pure, kind, and just pure-hearted, Princess Diana. I wish she was still with us. I know that if she was with us, she would have continued to make such an impact in this world in a very positive way.
Yes.
She kept it classy, she kept it cool, plus she was super fashionable all the time. And I know it's not all about that. I know that sounds kind of materialistic, but when you can look that good and be that good inside, I want to be around you. So I wish I could meet Princess Diana, but may she rest in peace. But that's mine for today. But we wanted to move into the topic of Harvey. And y'all are going to have to excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm still dealing with a really bad cough. But we wanted wanted to be here for you guys and show face and let you guys know that we're here. We want to talk about Harvey a little bit because, yes, it passed. Yes, it's been a couple weeks. We're not trying to bring it up in a negative way, but people are still dealing with this. Some people are still hurt by this. A lot of people that I know personally are still struggling with this. There's still a lot of my loved ones that don't have homes and are dealing with, you know, the reconstruction of it all. So we just kind of wanted to be here and share with you some of our thoughts, some of our emotions, and we hope that you feel the same way. And as always, if you're here with us, if you're watching, give us that thumbs up, share the video so more people can enjoy it and come and join the conversation. Do you want to get started, love? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about our culture.
Yes, so I wanted to wish everybody in Mexico and Central and some countries in Southern America happy Independence Day. Some of our Spanish-speaking countries on this side of the pond are celebrating their independence, and we just wanted to give a shout out.
Shout out.
I can't speak. We're rusty. Yes, I'm like, corazón. A big shout out and to everybody celebrating today. Congratulations. I know here in Houston we had to postpone the Fiestas Patrias parade, which is huge for the city, just because we're still dealing with the aftermath of Harvey, and it just out of respect, which I truly, can appreciate that. I think it was totally necessary. I know in our school some of the celebrations are changing as well, just so, because we still have families who are like outside our borders, because some of our kids get bussed in, and who are not in their homes yet, or will have to find another home. So I think that the connection for me today is we're so thankful that our countries went through that independence and have that change in their country, but also here I like to believe that I like the way we celebrate our culture here, and we're respected that way to be able to celebrate that, and that we have those freedoms, and that we're able to walk around and say, I'm Mexican and I'm celebrating this today, and there's people who will celebrate with me and they're not particularly the same nationality. So I want to be thankful for that and thankful for everything that's going on. Truly, Texans have shown the Texas spirit. Like, hands down, sorry for the rest of the states, Texas is the best state ever. The people here, their hearts are just as big as the state. And I'm so happy that we've gathered and around each other and continuing to help each other out, and just want to celebrate all of that today.
And I saw a meme recently that said, if you thought Texans were obnoxious about our pride, wait till after Harvey. I feel like everybody's Texas pride and just Southern pride, that Southern hospitality, it's on full blast right now, and I couldn't be prouder. I agree with you 100%. The people of Houston, the people of Texas, the people of just Southern Texas and all over Texas, because a lot of even Dallas, which we love to rival Dallas. Those Cowboys suck. Yes, they do. Even like our northern little sisters that we like to fight with, they were so helpful during this whole time. And I agree with that meme. If you thought Texas was obnoxious about being the best, just wait. Just give us a couple more weeks. We're gonna be even worse.
But that's fantastic. Texas has really shown how good people are to other people here. But we also had a lot of help from our
there are so many states.
So many states came through, Louisiana.
Absolutely.
So I'm just being able to see that, how many people came from out of state to help.
Right.
It's it's fantastic. Yes.
Continue to help
from all over the U.S.
The Cajun Navy, I didn't know existed until unfortunately until Harvey, but that's amazing. I do.
The reaction that not only Texans but just the country had when it came to Harvey was, I didn't expect that, and it was fantastic.
Well, and then Mexico also sent troops over and helped, so it wasn't just within the states; it was even from across the country. So definitely everybody.
I think we needed that. Like, we needed a reminder, just with everything that's going on. That humanity still exists. And
and that people still have huge hearts.
Still care.
Yes, absolutely. with that being said, I want to talk a little bit, our first topic, I want to talk about survivor's guilt, which is another thing that I didn't know what it was until, I want to say, maybe a week after Harvey. My friend sent me this article. Actually, two of my friends sent me this article. And she's like, I need you to read this. And it was about coping with survivor's guilt. And the title, I was like, what are you talking about? This sounds silly. But once I actually started to read, it was very much, it spoke to me. And I know that we are so blessed and lucky to say that all of us, our homes are intact, our families are safe. And there hasn't been one day that not all of us have thanked God and you know, just we're blessed, we're lucky. And with that sometimes comes a little bit of that guilt. I know I speak for myself. I don't know about you guys. When I told Karen, a friend of mine, for the first couple of days after Harvey, it sounds stupid, but I didn't even shower because I was so guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had a couple of my friends that actually had to be rescued out of their homes, and I just kept thinking, what is so-and-so doing right now? She's not even in her house. Or what is so-and-so doing? Like, you know, her kids don't have this and this and that. And it just became,
It's difficult. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was
It's hard to
watch.
process
Yeah.
because you've never dealt with that kind of intense situation around you. And I know for a fact, I echo the same sentiment because we left. I remember telling my husband, and I said, look, I've been here through Allison, and Allison was just a tropical storm.
Yeah.
I dealt with the hurricane where everybody was stuck on the freeway.
yeah.
Well, I can't remember which one.
Ike.
For 24 hours in the same spot. That was so traumatic for me. I was like, I can't remember how old I was. I was in my early 20s maybe. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again ever. I don't care if it's hitting Rockport or where it's hitting. We're going to get on the dirty side. There's going to be water. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
We left Friday morning and we went to Dallas. We have family up there and watching TV every single day. Like that's all it was.
Yeah.
24/7. We were so much like we shouldn't have left. We didn't know yet because it was still raining for the first few days afterwards. It hit if there was going to flood or not. We knew that thanks to that Nextdoor app, which is, I recommend people downloading it. It's kind of like the Facebook for neighbors, but people asking, is this street okay? Is that, how about our homes? And people just rallying and saying, we stayed, everything's fine, yada, yada, yada. But it wasn't until afterwards. And feeling like we should stay and we should be helping. We should be helping, right? So we were trying to find every kind of GoFundMe or You Caring account that had already been started to figure out where we could pass our funds to, just because we felt so
Guilty.
ungrateful.
Oh.
Not like that didn't happen to us, you know, and we're over here. And we're sitting, you know, we're going to go have breakfast down in the hotel lobby. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like here's my privilege showing left and right. But at the same time, my husband was like, but when we get back, you will be able to help. You can't, she's like, you can't take on this guilt of the world for, you know, you're one person. I understand how you feel, but you need to be able to think positive and what you're going to do from forward when you get back. But still, like, I've never felt that before.
It's
ever.
helpless. You feel helpless. For me, I was stuck in my house because everything around me was flooding and I was with my kids and I felt like, well, I can't leave to go help. I have my kids. Like, where am I going to leave my kids if my families are also, a lot of our, they were all affected. Everybody was either just stuck in their homes or people started getting water in their homes from, like, my husband's family that live in our area. So for me, it was the fact that I couldn't get out of my house and do anything. And we did end up evacuating, but it wasn't until the Tuesday after when they let the water go from the reservoirs.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're in that area. But yeah, for me, I felt a little helpless and it was kind of, it was hard. It was hard to watch because that's all they had on TV.
Yes.
And so, you can't leave your house, and so you're stuck there. And I would like fall asleep, and then we'd like do movies or just something to kind of distract ourselves. But it was hard. It was definitely hard to watch.
Definitely hard, especially because in my heart I wanted to be out there. I know I had a particular friend that was not too far from me, but I couldn't even get to her. You know what I mean? Like, our house was okay, but as soon as you left our cul-de-sac, as soon as you left our neighborhood, there was no way of navigating. Like, all the streets were completely underwater. So it was like, I'm okay, but I can't come help you. And it was a horrible, horrible feeling. And I know all I kept thinking was, I just kept praying.
Yeah.
God, please watch over this person. God, please watch over this person. God, please. And that's in my heart. I feel like that's how I could help in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
A huge person I prayed for too was Izzy, because her being in military, I knew she was deployed.
But
And
you know, for me, we're trained for this kind of stuff. So, and I have been through Hurricane Katrina, and the guilt thing, to me, I don't really deal with the guilt. I deal with the where my guilt came from was mostly when we went through Katrina. Maybe there wasn't a lot of social media going on.
Mhm.
So what the Coast Guard did was televised, but it wasn't really all over social media like it was this time. To me, like, I think what kind of was the guilt was like, I don't really want to talk about what I'm doing. Like, I don't really care to share for what I'm doing. As for, I actually left, me and Jen were talking the Friday morning, I left with my daughter. My husband doesn't live in town, so my obligations to my daughter first. So, like I said, I've been through Katrina before, and I evacuated last minute. That was horrible. It was like probably the worst experience of my life. So, getting Carrie out of that, again, what Jen said, was my priority.
Definitely.
So I got her out of there, and when everything was hitting, and there was a couple of other spouses with, who headed to Dallas with me. I think our thing was, man, we're thankful. We are so thankful. Like, and I told Kyrie every morning when she woke up, she should be thankful that she was dry, that she had all her pets, and that there was no stress around her. And the one thing that resonated with me about, like, cause for a minute there, like, I was communicating with some of my bosses. I was like, what can I do from here? What can I, this and that. And one of the things that I heard was, sometimes the best thing when you're safe is to stay safe and just let things happen.
Yeah, that's
So wait for people who are actually trying to do what they need to do to take care of other people.
Yeah.
And for people who are actually trying to save themselves, just relax and, react, when we're ready, when the city's ready for you to come back and help, we come back and help. And I think that's how I deal with not feeling guilty. It's just be still.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too, and I can agree with you. Not feeling guilty too, because you being in service, still not wanting to talk about it. I understand, but you being in service, it was like your mind was on, what can I do? Your mind was on reacting, and us being stuck behind. It was different, because I was like, should I have left? Should I have tried? It was the first hurricane I went through with my son, and being a new mom and still having doubts. I mean, yes, he's 2 years old, but I don't think the mom doubt and the mom guilt ever goes away. I immediately was like, I'm going to be stuck. We're not going to have light. We're going to be flooded. I don't know how to swim. How am I going to save my son? So it was guilt. It was fear. And it was the sense of, I felt so incompetent. Like, here's Izzy, helping her crew. Here's the Coast Guard doing this. Here's the National Guard doing this. And here I am at home watching it all on TV.
I think that's the thing what kind of almost like made me stop and think. I was like, this is the first time I see everything, not just the Coast Guard, but like every other service helping so like focus on that.
Yes.
And it's fantastic, because and I guess for like, these guys do this every day. They don't just do this for hurricanes. Hurricanes, this just multiplies.
Yeah.
So to me, it was just like, it was almost shocking. Like, I'm like,
You haven't seen it in that magnitude.
Yeah. So, but I think all of you, just speaking to them daily, you guys all did what you needed to do. You left because that was your instinct. I left because that was my instinct. You stayed because that was your instinct. And in the end, we protected our families.
Yeah,
That's
that was just the most important thing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, for example, my husband with business, like, he's in the construction industry, and all of his clients were like, oh my God, we're in the middle of remodeling, or we're in the middle of starting new construction, like materials, and he was very clear. My crews are going to take their families and do what they need to do and be safe. You need to do the same for your family. Material things will have to be dealt with later. Later. You need to worry about your safety. And he was getting calls on our drive out. And So it was like, what do you think? Do we board up anything? Can you come do it? And he's like, no, I'm gonna take care of my. This is the first time I've ever heard my husband say no. And in the entire like 10 years that we've been together, you know, like tell a client no, like you don't understand. He would get phone calls at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning. My pipes, whatever, or you know, we need this, we need that, or can you do this? And he picks up. He answers. This is the first time I talked to him and I had a very serious conversation. This is a leadership time. Yeah. You know, this is a time where, you know, husband and wife have to have this conversations. And yes, I'm looking to you to make the final decision, but I'm telling you, I want to go.
Right.
Yeah. Like, point blank. So this is what we need to do. And
that's so awesome, man. I feel like, you know,
it
because
helps create a deeper bond.
And that's why, like, I mean, I think we're good people. We're always going to feel a little guilt.
Yeah.
But we should never let that guilt ruin the fact that we just did the right thing for our family.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
We decided,
and that's important.
It is important. No, we decided to evacuate later, right after the fact, but it was because of that same kind of mentality of like, we didn't want to risk it. You know, we weren't going to risk it, and we understood that a lot of our families were in a bad situation, but we communicated with everybody, made sure everybody was okay and safe. Yeah, a lot of their homes got flooded, but my husband's like, at the end of the day, we need to do what's right for us and for the 2 kids that we have watching us. So that's it.
Exactly, because sometimes I don't know what it is with our culture that you make yourself responsible for the entire community and your family. You're like,
you can't save everyone.
You
can't.
You can't decide for other people's families. Like I have 2 brothers and they have their wives. My older brother decided to stay. His wife is pregnant, but they live in a 3-story, the ones with the garage at the bottom and the 2 stories up top. And they're like, we're gonna write it out. I'm like, dude, you just got a new car. I'm like, really? You're gonna stay? But okay, that was his choice. Yeah. My younger brother and his wife, they have a timeshare, so they took off to a resort. You know what I mean? It's
you do what's right.
Exactly.
What's
so
best for you.
Yeah, they took off and they took my parents' dog. Thank goodness. If not, you know what I mean? That's, they had somewhere.
I think bottom line is you brought up a good point. Like, don't feel guilty because you made the right choice. Right. And in my case, being afraid of the whole being stuck, my family evacuated with 9 cats. 3 dogs at the time. 9 cats, 3 dogs, 7 of us. My husband 8. Yeah. So we evacuated that time for Ike, and we were stuck for 24 hours in the same freeway until you know how far we
have a lot of cats, but how many cats?
No, you know where we ended up from? We were living in South Houston at the moment. South Houston. No, we were living off of 45 and Bellway 8 at the time. From Bellway 8 and 45, 36 hours later, we made it to 290 and Elbridge.
No, it's absolutely a nightmare trying to, but that's where you have to. You know, you have to.
So I was afraid of that. I was afraid of being stuck like that with my son, who's very active, who's not going to understand, like, give me out this car seat.
So you'd be walking the freeway.
Yes.
I think that's why we waited, because we waited for everybody to kind of leave, you know, the first big waves to leave. So when we left on Tuesday afternoon, there was not that much traffic. We actually saw a lot of convoys coming in on the way out, and that kind of made us happy, right? But yeah, so we waited, and there was no traffic. We made it straight into San Antonio with like no issues. We stayed there the night, and then we went on to the valley. But yeah, it was good for us.
I think what happened was that people who were here in Houston and went through that experience with what was Ike? I mixed them up. They didn't want to deal with that again. But can you imagine also, I think, you know, when people argue that point of, oh, they should evacuate the city. Yes and no, whether you evacuate it or not, it's still going to flood. Yeah. 1. 2, can you imagine, remember all those cars backed up in the freeways? You would have cemeteries in those freeways.
Oh, no, do you remember how many people died?
And with the heat and
no gas.
No gas. But here, you saw the freeways filled up with water. Can you imagine if those cars, if panic would have gone across the city and everybody would have left all at the same time, there would have been so many more casualties, I think.
I think the city reacted
correct.
Yes.
As correct as a bunch of humans, million of humans can react in a big ass city.
I think more of the story, I think it's time for everybody to stop feeling guilty, but don't stop counting your blessings. I think you never do. But speaking of blessings, I wanted to give a couple shout outs. I see a lot of our viewers reacting. Alicia says, hola chicas, she's glad to see us back live. We love you, Alicia. Danae says good morning.
Buenos
And
dias.
hi, Danae. And she said, Holy Mother of all goodness, y'all are gorgeous.
Aww, gracias.
Well, thank you. You sure do know how to make a girl feel good. Andrea says hello and good morning.
Hi.
Nelly Castro says, am I the only one with bad connection? Oh, I hope not. As always, our show is going to come up on YouTube as well. And usually that is like a clear, smooth signal. But we're going to continue on with the next thing we wanted to talk about is helping out on your way. Once that guilt kicked in and it kind of kick-started everything for me, in my head I just kept thinking, how can I help my way? I can't leave the house, and like you said, I started with the where can I donate, who can I help, can I host people? I opened my home to people that needed it. I offered, can I wash your clothes? Because I know, I mean, if it was underwater, you have to make the decision. Are you going to get rid of it? Is it salvageable? Can I wash it for you? Can I babysit your kids? Can I cook for you? Because, you know, my kitchen is working. So how are some of the ways that you can recommend or that you did yourself helping your way? How were you able to help, or what do you think people should do when they feel like they're stuck?
For me, as soon as we came back, and then on the way back, we had been texting. Well, school obviously got delayed, you know, and so my husband and I were discussing how can we help with that, because we saw the lines at Georgia Brown of volunteers. So we're like, that's, you know, people bringing in all those food and water donations and things like that. How can we do it more near us, in our like more immediate circle? And so we called around to make sure that all our friends were okay. And once that happened, the next step was at my son's school. Our principal had been in communications with the PTA, which I'm part of, talking about, hey, these teachers were affected, or these specific families were affected, and so we started a donation drive for them. And it was very specific. We narrowed it down to what they needed and those specific families. And you know, I opened up my home to have as a drop off for those donations, and we sorted through sizes, and we helped dress, you know, these children. And got them school supplies, which is what they needed at the time. I know also one of the teachers lost their car, and so one of our parents had an older vehicle and is lending them the car.
That's
an older car, and so that was really nice of them. And then our school has out of the country teachers. We have some teachers from Spain who've never dealt with any situations like this before. So it's really just having those conversations and saying, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, I love that you said that, because it is about that. It's just about, sometimes it's not even about giving somebody a brand new outfit because, you know, they lost it. It's just lending them an ear. And a lot of our friends, I mean, especially in my situation, people are not used to asking for help. You know, they're not used to feeling vulnerable or feeling like they cannot provide for their kids at that moment. And confusion, you know, fear.
And it affected everybody on the spectrum. It affected
all those feelings they go through. I mean, they don't have a home. I can't even imagine going through something like that with Kyrie. I mean, I lost my home before, like through Katrina, but I was alone, and to me it was like, oh, I mean, whatever. I didn't care. I was young, but I can't even picture that. So, like she says, sometimes it's all about asking, are you okay? You know, do you need anything? And listen to whatever they have to say.
Yeah, sometimes that the biggest help is just connecting and communicating with people and finding out, are you okay? Is everything okay? How are you feeling? I think that's one of the biggest ways that I kind of helped since I left. Just kind of making sure that everybody in our area was okay and that nothing major was needed during that time. And then of course, like later, I also was trying to help through buying different items. You know, there were so many vendors and so many different creatives out there that were creating decals or t-shirts, or I even had yesterday, one of my friends, she made me something for my garden that says Texas Strong.
It's so cute.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. You know,
And things like that, you know, if you're paying somebody to do something for you, and they're local, then you know that money is going either towards themselves, you know, for their families and for any help they might need, or the decals that I bought. I know she's also a fellow blogger. Her name's Yvonne. She made those, and half of that money is going towards relief, I think, to her church. And so that's good too. So just the little things. The decals are like $10. You know, I bought several of them, and it's a little bit here and there that you know is going towards a good cause. So for me, that was one of the biggest ways that I tried to help, was stay connected with everybody in my area that I knew had been affected, and then, find the local places where I could maybe donate a little bit of my money.
There was a post that I shared on Facebook from Maya Shea from ABC 13. Was that she had posted and said, hey, it's great that you're donating to the organizations, to churches and food and clothing and things like that, but don't forget about your local small business owners,
Right.
your hairstylists, your nail salons, your small restaurants, because yes, go out to eat, yes, keep your hair appointment, keep your nail appointment. Why? Because that money is feeding families. It's still,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It might seem like you feel guilty for having that luxury, but at the end of the day, it really isn't. It is going
It
to
might
help.
be business.
Yeah, it's helping that person stay in business and stay in the community, which in turn helps your community in the long run.
Right.
I couldn't agree more, because my husband had to actually close down the family business because, of course, we
Right.
were cooped up in the house during Harvey. And all he kept thinking about was, my guys are not going to get a check. Him being, it's such a small business. It's a family business. It's run by him and his father. They don't rely on like insurance and all that. Like the money that the guys get every week comes from their pocket. So of course, if there's nothing going into his pocket, he couldn't afford to pay
Right.
15, 20 guys, while they weren't showing up, while the business was closed, and while no material was being bought or sold or traded. So, excuse me, the way he did is like, we're gonna open half the week, and I'm gonna have them clean up the warehouse, because there was a lot of like debris and wind. Thank God there was nothing major happening in his business, but that was his way of kind of like helping them out. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's do half a week, and let's open 2 days to the public, and 2 days let's just clean the crap out of that warehouse. And he's like, that way we all kind of get a little normality back, and we all get a little something in our pockets.
Right.
Because that's true. The small businesses are still hurting, guys.
Yeah.
They really are still hurting. They don't rely on a lot of the big corporations. You can put in like a loss or put in help, or the money comes in when you're salary, but when you're working paycheck to paycheck, it stops and it hurts. So keep going. Keep being proactive with the local businesses. That'll definitely help.
Yeah, there was a business, I think, in our Houston Latina bloggers group that had just opened her boutique in Kingwood, like literally a week or two before the hurricane hit, and it got flooded. Like her inventory, yes. I can't remember her name right now. It's
I didn't see that one.
I'll look it up. And probably post it. So if you're in that area, you can definitely go by and help and see how they're rebuilding. But yeah, it's just
It's hard.
a big wave of
it's a big wave of a whole lot of emotions. Another thing that we wanted to just throw out there and be a little proactive. Know your resources. If you or someone you know has been affected, and even better, if you haven't been affected and you have the opportunity to sit on the computer 5-10 minutes and send a link, send a number, do so. For example, FEMA, like a lot of the people that are, their homes went under, or even if it wasn't a lot of water, but as long as a little bit of that water stays in there, that mold is not the safest thing to be in. So FEMA is doing hotels, temporary, hotels, and they're picking up the tab. I know a friend of mine, I think she said they're doing about 2 weeks of a free hotel so that her kids and her can be safe, and her husband as well, can be safe during this, because they have to tear up, the floors, the carpet, the first 2 to 3 feet of the drywall in there. So FEMA is a good resource. I know a lot of shelters and churches, whether they're not giving donations, it's just a good resource to go ask, to go say like, how can I get the help? And please do not be afraid, ashamed, worried, or anything, to ask for help. Just please ask for help. There's a lot of people that are willing to help. There's a lot of us that want to help. There's a lot of us that are dealing with the guilt, and helping helps us, feel a little more useful, and it's something that everybody's doing. Do you ladies have any resources that you can think of that maybe someone can use?
I don't have any
Specific
ones right now, but I share a lot on Facebook, and if I definitely see anything, one big resource I feel is just sharing those resources. When we were going through it, a couple weeks ago, almost every day, if I saw somebody post a resource, then I would repost it, because you just don't know who it would help. So I think becoming a resource yourself, you know, for somebody else, even if you weren't affected and you don't need that information, just share it anyway, because somebody in your community, somebody in your network might need that. So definitely, I think just becoming a resource for yourself. And Facebook, of course, is a huge resource for all kinds of information.
Social media it's been a turning point.
You definitely want to make sure that it's correct information, because the very first day we shared a phone number and it kept getting shared and it wasn't real.
No, it was actually, I'm not even going to say that, but it was the wrong number.
Yeah, it was the wrong number for
the Coast Guard.
Right. And so people started sharing it, and I thought, oh, well, it's good. So, of course, I didn't think to call because I don't need the help. So definitely check your resources before you share them. But, just be a resource yourself.
I think I mentioned to you the Texas workforce is the one that if people are missing wages and missing work because of it, I think it's another resource that you can help. I don't know the specifics, but I think they were helping garnish some of those wages. They were helping. I don't think they're going to give you 100% of your wages lost, but I think that's a start. It's a help. That it almost works like the unemployment, but it's for catastrophes and stuff like that.
Actually, you know what? I have some resources.
Okay.
Call your credit card companies and tell them you've been affected. Or any debt like that, any mortgage stuff. Call
mortgage
them.
too.
It never hurts to help. To check to see if you can get a break.
And I've been getting emails from my bank.
Me too.
Excuse me. Credit cards. Who else? They've been emailing. They've been reaching out to us.
Even the cell phone company.
Yes. I was just fussing about this earlier because my son's been he got his iPad back. He was in punishment from it, and he's been on it, so he's been using up the data. And I'm like, until the 25th only, buddy. That's your cutoff. That's it. Because they're gonna, people who've been through the catastrophe during that time, they're not going to charge you for the whole purchase.
Overages, I know mortgage companies, a specific one, I don't remember the specific one, I'm sorry, but specifically one of my friends said that they were going to waive her mortgage for 60 days. And it might not seem like a lot, but that's two payments.
2 months that you can help
absolutely
rebuild.
And use those resources for something else. So.
Some car companies are doing the same, so that's a good one, hon. Reach out to the people, any of your lenders, any of your banks, and see if there's any sort of break you can get. And any little bit helps at this moment, I think. Another big thing that I think is still hugely needed, the donations are pouring in, the funds are pouring in, but volunteer work. I've been able to volunteer only twice. This time I got really sick, and I'm like, the last thing these people need is my nasty cold, coughing all over them. But the places that I was able to volunteer were extremely, extremely happy. I know that Georgia Brown even had a little bit of a waiting list, people waiting outside, but maybe try more local, maybe try on a smaller scale. The churches I know Deer Park Community Center actually opened up as a shelter, and they were more than happy for the help. So volunteer work is still hugely needed, and it can come in the form of like neighbor helping neighbor. If you can go
never be afraid to take care of whoever's next to you first.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we all did. We check on those around us, and then we spread out a little bit to see who else might need help. But
for me, and you said, I know you said this already as far as shelters and churches, but if you have children, try your child's school, because they know, the administration knows what family needs what specifically, and that's like when you can narrow down what their needs are, it's more impactful than just handing over $10, $20, or $100 or whatever you can help with. But and I know I hate to say this, but we don't want people to get volunteer. What's it called when you're worn out?
Exhaustion.
Like burnout. Volunteer burnout. I know for me the idea of I have a 1-year-old, so I can't physically go somewhere and do the hours, but the idea of helping through hosting my home as a drop off for the donation drive was helpful, or getting Amazon to drop off things here, or like I say at the school. Like I know some places were allowing you to have things delivered to the site versus you having to deal with delivering them yourself. So that's also an option if you want to order. I know we had a parent order on Amazon a lot of the items and was going to have them directly shipped to the school.
That's a good idea.
So that's also as well. Reach out. Then the schools are really a great resource. Churches are as well. I know somebody was asking where to donate. Honestly, right now, I know that there were several apps that were created while this whole thing happened. As far as how do you know if they need volunteers? How do you know where the donation sites are? I don't know if those are still up and running, but I would Google or go even on Facebook, search donation sites Houston, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of ping backs as far as of the results. If you're still looking for a place to donate, watch the news.
Yeah,
I think if you stay connected to the news, as far as you'll find out who. I know you had called me when you had like a lot of donations from the drive that y'all hosted, which was an awesome
I still
drive.
have some in my car that I didn't give you.
So you were looking for a place to donate. It's awesome.
I think another thing is, for people aren't realizing that we have so many people donating. I think maybe I suggested one thing was to keep those donations for a while, maybe for next month, when people run out of items and maybe they're back in their homes and they didn't get to go to the local church to pick up clothes or whatever they needed. So maybe next month, in October or even in November, when it's Thanksgiving around that time, kind of come back to what you have in stock and give that back.
That's what Izzy and I talked about whenever we did a donation with LNF Meadows and with House of Alice Rose. We didn't want to spring on it, literally when it happened. We did it just this past weekend, and we said the same thing. If we, try to collect so much at one time, we're going to be caught in that. Where do we take it to? So our idea was, let's wait a little bit to the first wave kind of happen. And whenever we did this one, we had a location that we were going to go to. But even that location, that church ended up filling up literally like a day or two before our drive. And our next idea was just driving down to Rockport, to Corpus, and lending them a little bit of help, because I know they're still
and Port Arthur too, and I think Beaumont got a lot of a lot of damage as well. And the thing is, and this is a conversation that we have daily, my husband and I, because he comes home every day talking about a new house that he got a call for to go look at. This is going to continue. It's going to take years to get all these families back in if they decide to stay.
They go back,
if they decide to stay in Houston, if they want to, rebuild in their same location, unless they decide to sell their home off. It's just keep Houston in your hearts, keep all, Southeast Texas in your hearts, and stay alert as to how this progresses. I know in Florida as well, now we're having to, shift those efforts over there, and we're keeping, all the Floridians in our prayers, and all the central islands, and the Central American islands that were also in, the Caribbean, that island that got wiped out. I mean, just pray every day that, you know what I thought about this.
People can react in the way
that climate change is real, and that we need to take better care of our planet. We need to start working on our planet a little more.
No, I think as far as volunteering, in Houston Latina Bloggers, we have Angelica, who is doing an adopt a family where you can connect with her, and she'll connect you with a family and give you specifics on the needs that they have. And so that's something that's kind of long term, where maybe it doesn't have to happen this month. You can connect with her around Thanksgiving or around Christmas, because this is going to affect us for the next year or so, and a lot of families more than that. So definitely, I think that's a good resource. Another one would be, there's a group called Houston Millennials, and they have been doing big drives in a lot of different locations and just volunteering. So that's another good group to kind of go and check out.
That's awesome. I wanted to end on a positive note. I wanted to end on a little bit of a pick-me-up, and I wanted to see, do you guys want to share any stories that touched your heart during all this? Do you want to share any little bit of positivity to end, and so our viewers can have something kind of pretty to hold on to?
I actually have a really good story.
Yeah.
So I left, as I mentioned earlier. My neighbor stayed. One door down neighbor. her name's Michelle. She has 3 dogs, and I think she has no cats. One cat, I can't remember. But she's like super clean. She's like always talks about how her house is super clean. Her daughter comes and plays with Kyrie, and she's like, "Oh, my mom wouldn't like the shoes there. Like they're just super clean." So I was texting back and forth when I was in Dallas with her, asking her about how the house was, and she says the water kept rising where our neighborhood next to us flooded. So she's like, "Well, we were freaking out because we didn't know if the water was going to end up coming in the houses, but then I was sad because people were leaving, and so I started taking their dogs and cats." So she says that her house became a dog and cat house. She had one room with nothing but cats and then dogs everywhere. So she was taking our next neighbor's animals and her friends and family animals that they couldn't take them with them, or there was a reason why they were freaking out because they their pets somehow they didn't want to displace a pet. She was taking pets. And I thought that was fantastic. Thank you, Michelle, for doing that.
Shout out to you, Michelle.
Well,
that's amazing.
And she's a very clean
She's
person.
like, I've been cleaning since it happened. But bless her heart, because I love my cats. I packed my 3 cats and my dog with me and my daughter, and I took off, and it was annoying as hell. By the 5th day, I was like, "You don't get me out of this hotel with these 3 cats. I'm gonna go crazy." But I think people like that are just
wonderful.
why we kind of are in a good situation.
Yeah.
For me, not a lot of people know, but my husband got stuck in Galleria during the whole thing. He wasn't with us for 3 days. So on that 3rd day, they were going to release the water from the reservoirs, and I kind of was panicking a little bit, but I sat down the kids, and we were like, okay, we're gonna get our stuff together, and if Dad shows up tomorrow, or if he doesn't, we need to go, we need to get out of here. So I had 2 of Ricardo's, one cousin and one uncle, who both were like, whatever you need, we're gonna come get you the next day, so just little things like that where I wasn't completely by myself. I knew that I had somebody. And they were both ready. They're like, "You call us in the morning as soon as you're ready. We'll come out there." One of them has a bigger truck and the other one not so much, but he was like, "I don't care. We'll come and get you and the kids, and you'll be fine, and you'll be safe. You'll be at our house." It didn't have to happen. My husband ended up making it home safe on Monday morning, so it was good. But yeah, just the little things, just people kind of reaching out and just knowing that you're not alone. I think that was one of the biggest things for me. But I know that so many people were affected, and there were just when you would turn on the news, there were so many stories of people I don't know who these people are, but I just put them in my boat and took them with me.
Yes.
There were just people that were going to go check on somebody, and they ended up rescuing a whole neighborhood. That kind of thing just really made me feel a lot better.
Yeah, that was gonna be. I think that was gonna be my little bit of sunshine is, like you said, that the TV stayed on and the news station stayed on for the whole time, and I would not sleep at night because I'm paranoid, and I would just think we kept getting tornado warnings too where I live. We live literally in a wind tunnel, and we have to have a wind and gust insurance normally, even without the hurricane. So it's very windy. So I would stay up at night, and I would watch the news, and I would say, okay, but when the tornado comes, I have to get the baby and wake up my son and go in my closet, and I had it all figured out. And one of those nights, there was actually a story of a man that was checking on someone. One of the thousands of people that just went on their own personal boat and went out rescuing, he happened to run into a family that had been stuck in a roof for a couple of days. They had a brand new baby, and that baby had had a fever for I don't know how long. And the baby, when they got him, was actually was having seizures because of the fever. But I know it sounds sad, but the happy ending to it is that whenever the guy passed by, he passed by at the perfect moment. When he came back out, the news guy was like, "What's going on?" The baby was shaking. There was a paramedic that happened to be there in one of the National Guard, the big giant trucks, and they were able to save the baby. Perfect timing, perfect spot. And I was just like, this is what it's about. Yes, we're all going through hell. Yes, some people lost everything. But you know what? Humanity showed up in a big way. Race, size, sex, gender, nothing mattered at that moment. Everybody went into rescue mode. Everybody went into that survivor mode. And that seriously touched my heart. The biggest. That was just the biggest reminder of, you know what, our country might be a little separated right now, but when it comes down to it, we can get together, and we make such a difference when we are together. Like, it's just, it was unprecedented to see the amount of help that just came out, and the beauty that came out when people, you know, got together and helped. So
For me, I have 3. First one was this grandma that was sitting in her porch, and she was reuniting with her rescuer. Right? This is a story after the fact. And she said, he didn't have to do that. He was taking out his pregnant wife and 3 kids. Saved, and this water, he's like, she was like, the water was to his chest. And you know what? He didn't speak English. But he came and got me. He said, Mommy, it's going to be okay. And he came back, came and got her. None of her family could get to her. She lived by herself. And they had the reporter, it was on CNN. The reporter was interpreting for him and said, we're here for you. I'm across the street. We never talked to each other. We lived here for years, but I'm here. And the reporter told the grandmother that, and they gave each other a big hug. And it was just like, speechless. Leaves you speechless, because it's like you said, humanity showed up. The second one for me is the way J.J. Watt, for example, he's not even native Houstonian, but the way he has shown up for this city and his efforts, I feel like he is setting a great example of what people can do when they're acting positively. When you're doing it for the right reasons.
What you should do with a platform.
Exactly. And use your voice and not let anything deter you. Just focus on what needs to be done. And he still went on with his day-to-day job. He was still, starting his season and things like that, and he just made it an effort, and I'm just like so happy that a person like that is around in our city.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, and everybody else who's been donating as well, not just him, but just so much the way he's, I don't know, it's $37 million. Like, he started like, we're just trying to reach 200,000. Nothing else. That's it. No, $37 million.
Bless his heart, man. He's worth every million of the Houston plate.
Actually, he better keep paying him whatever he's asking for.
Give him what he wants.
Yes,
that's where the funds that we did the donation drive. That's where it went, to the J.J. Watt Foundation. My husband's a huge Texans fan, as most people are, but I'm not one of the women, like some people that I know, that are in love with him. But I'm in love with him. I'm in love with him now, with the person.
Right.
I've never been attracted to him like
I always
that.
knew he was good.
But now I'm like, oh my God, I am a J.J. Watt fan. A J.J. Watt fan, no matter where he goes.
Right.
Yeah.
But thank
and
you.
he deserved that Super Bowl ring, so if he leaves the Texans, forgive him.
Yeah. And then lastly for me, and I know it might not be like the stories that we've been discussing, but I want y'all to keep in mind the work that is going to be available for a lot of people.
Yes.
And I'm just coming from the construction industry that we live in. For me, it's an up and down the entire year. We know when our good times of year are, seasons are for construction. Construction's up and down. And whether it's high-end homes or your people who just need your basic home or whatever, the construction industry is super volatile all the time.
Absolutely.
And so I want y'all to... I want to bring light to the people who are now can breathe at night. And yes, it's because of somebody else's loss, but they're still, these people are going to bring them light and able to rebuild their homes.
Right.
And it's going to give a lot of people work that have been needing work, that are going to put food on their table for their families now for months and months and years to come. Yeah. So I just want to, there's always glass half empty, glass half full mentality.
There's always a little silver lining.
You know what?
Exactly.
The work, it's a volunteer itself. You're rebuilding. You're helping the city rebuild. So,
and just kind of going back to what you said about J.J. Watt, a few others.
Of course, it's true.
Of course, J.J. Watt.
I had to mention his name. No, so a few others, locals that really showed up in a big way. Mattress Mac from Gallup.
Oh my God. He's
and also
fantastic.
El Bolillo Bakery. They, I don't know how many thousands of pieces of bread they brought to like so many people in so many locations. And the other one was Hilton Furniture.
Yes, I don't think he got the credit.
No, I don't think he did, and he was on the news from day
one.
But
he's okay with that. You don't need the press to do it.
No.
So.
Because people know and people saw it. Yeah. So I think locally those 3 organizations were huge. They were everywhere. and definitely huge thank you for all the work that they did.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Hilton. My heart went out to him because he not only loaned out the larger vehicles to rescue
trucks,
people,
yeah.
but he was actually like in the water rescuing people. And I don't think people noticed that he was literally like down and dirty to
Yeah,
the point
he
where
was.
people didn't recognize who he was. But we definitely think
And those
he
are
saw
the best
you.
people. Like,
Yes.
you know, they're not doing it for any
For
show.
publicity
They're there
or for anything, right.
what they're doing, what they
Yeah,
do.
he just went into helpful mode.
Right.
And he just did it for all the right reasons. But
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's just beautiful how just all kinds of business people, and whether again when Izzy was talking that this storm impacted from every level,
Mhm.
every
Yeah.
economic status, every
Right.
person in this city was affected in one way or another.
Mhm.
Well, Mother Nature does not discriminate,
Mhm.
and so I'm so proud to be in a city that's so diverse, so accepting, and so unified, and so willing to put the work.
And willing to
Put in
put
the
the
work.
difference aside.
Yes.
Right.
Because, you know, I saw so many people who, different political backgrounds and stuff, helping each other. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. Just because you support one thing doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how you react when we actually need you to be
It goes
there
to
for
show
each
we
other.
can do it. It can be done.
Absolutely.
Right.
The country can be united, and I think on that note, on the positive note, we want to wish you all a blessed day, a blessed month, a blessed recovery. Houston, we are with you. I want to speak for, I think I can speak for my Livin Latina co-host as a whole when I say if we can help you in any way we can, if it's in our possibilities, please reach out to us as a whole, individually, privately, publicly. We not only talk the talk, we walk the walk. In any way that we can help, we are 100% here for you. We also wanted to reach out just quickly to everybody affected by the earthquake too in Mexico. I know you had mentioned that.
Yes.
Florida, we're with you. I know it's a very volatile time right now. I know there's a lot going on, but if this goes to show anything, positivity prevails every time. So on that note, everybody, it was amazing to have all of my girls again together. We were so happy we were able to do this. Life is short, so live it up, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you next
Bye.
time.